Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Pointer, Power Training TV. I'm on the second series, or second part of this series, The Art of Programming an Athlete. Like I mentioned, I gave you guys a heads up that this is just kind of my mindset going in. It's not right or wrong. You guys determine it for yourself. Try it out. Do whatever you need to do. It's not necessarily textbook, but it's basically what I'm trying to do is take my experience in my head and try to give it to you guys for you to formulate your own program, or if it helps support you one little tidbit, cool. That's why I make these videos. So check it out. First one we talked about is kind of categorizing what kind of person we are. Our genetic disposition, yada yada yada, all that. Basically what we want to do is we want to kind of have an overview of that person's life, and be honest with yourself as to the needs and wants and what kind of goal we're trying to obtain. And really, that's what we train for. Whether you think it or not, you're always training for some kind of goal. Even if you're like, oh, I just love to train, well, there's still some level of that you know what I mean, you're going towards something. You're progressing towards something always. You don't ever want to train just to be like, hey, I want to stay like this forever. It doesn't fucking make sense. So anyway, we just want to categorize a person, see what they are, figure out what their weaknesses is, figure out what they're going towards, their sport-specific goal, or if it's some kind of aesthetic goal or whatever. And then from there, figure out what it is. A lot of you guys, you know, some of you talk about like bodybuilding and stuff like that and trying to look good. A lot of you, like, some of your weaknesses, it might be something different. It might be like your nutrition. It might be your eating habits, your drinking habits. You would go out all the time on a weekend or some shit, and you wonder why you got a gut. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that are factored involved with it. But it can basically cross over or bridge the gap to a lot of those boundaries. It's not just athletes, I guess you could say. So the next series that I want to kind of go through is the eval and the assessment. And this is really, we get them working, and we really kind of want to see what we're dealing with as far as the athlete. And I like to knock this out of the way so that when we get to the more sport specific and we're really grinding out the stuff, this is already kind of handled, if you will. So a lot of this is done usually the first session, and then as we go on, we always reassess, but as we go on, this is the kind of stuff that you do in the beginning of your workout. I always try to address that to make them a bulletproof person. You know, I mean, I want to create superheroes, if you will. So the first one I go through, I just put down injury prone. Basically, essentially what we want to figure out is what kind of injuries have they had and what injuries are they prone to and why. And I just put an arrow here. I just talked about their flexibility, their range of motion, and then I talked about a couple different things. Let me first start off by saying there's usually some kind of trauma that obviously creates injury, which would be more of an acute, and then there's chronic. Obviously, chronic is going to take us further into, you know, some kind of repetitive motion. You know, sitting at a chair all day is a chronic injury that can be to the lower back because your hip flexors are so fucking tight. All right, that's kind of where I'm going with that. And then from here, you know, we figure all that out through the assessments and through whatever it is that you need to do. There's a million assessments. Just look up corrective stretching assessments online. You know, we have some here at Strength Camp. You guys can find those, figure out what's kind of fucked up on you, if you will, and start to manage that. And we manage that through prehab, corrective stretches, and corrective exercise. I don't know if you guys can see that right here. Prehab, I mean, get over it. I know you guys give me a lot of shit about the word prehab, and you guys want to make this such a technical term. Let me tell you what I learned from prehab, okay? Prehab is essentially putting a P in front of rehab because you're preventing rehab, okay? That's essentially all it is. It's a series of movements to try to balance out your body, your muscle imbalances, so you don't have to create an injury. I don't know where you guys are trying to make this such a scientific fucking, maybe it is, I don't know, but well, my case, I've never heard of it as that. It's just a term I use loosely as movements I do to help them prevent that, okay? That's all it is. You guys can, you know, poke at that all you want, or whatever. Corrective stretches are something that you should be familiar with if you watch Strength Camp, or if you know who the fuck I am, or Elliot is, I'm sorry. But that essentially is static stretches that we do. We do more of a Yanda approach. If you guys want to look him up, essentially all that means is why perform movements if we're not creating the proper motor patterns. So we static stretch before so we can align ourselves in training to perform proper recruitment patterns, okay? I mean, you guys can look that up, like I said, Yanda with a J, J-A-N-D-A. Last is corrective exercises. This is similar to prehab, whereas this is going to be maybe a little bit more heavier. This might be your bigger primal movement patterns, and that's going to come down to, you know, a lot of the prehab, I like to say, is a lot of, you know, body weight, aligning the body, integrating the body, doing a lot of band work, whereas corrective exercises might be certain deadlifts. We might use a dowel rod a lot to teach neutral spine. We might put you in certain compromised positions so that we can achieve or start firing dormant muscles. And really a lot of this is your posture and stuff like that. Next one we have right here is stress. So what I like to do is I kind of like to screen some of my guys and see what kind of stress, not only are they receiving outside, but what kind of stress can we apply to them? What kind of stimulus can we give this athlete? What can we throw at them? Each one is different. You guys got to understand that when you're programming for yourself and other people, okay? So your outside world, basically this kind of determines how many days a week we need to apply this stress. If you're playing football and you're practicing 6-7 days a week, obviously the intensity in the gym can still be high, but the amount or the frequency needs to be a little bit lower, if you will. And that goes for intensity as well, just all around. How am I going to take this kid? What exactly is he doing? And what kind of stress do I need to apply to manage his other stress? So you get the two stresses I'm going with there, right? There's stress outside. Your girlfriend did this. Your parents are doing this. Your parents make you work. I used to have a job and I would work like 6 days a week, you know, go to high school, football practice, all that other shit. So those are all things that you want to take into account. Not saying that the kid won't work out multiple times, but you want to see what he can handle, if you will, okay? And then also, sorry, that determines how much he deloads. I mean, if you have a kid who has it made and has his thumb in his mouth and his parents do whatever they want for him, you know that motherfucker ain't doing shit at home. He's going home and watching, you know, I don't know what you guys watch these days, but reality TV shows. But this kid here, he can, you know, we can make him work a little bit more. Anyway, last one's movement. This is gonna be your balance, your coordination, and then what I have here is function. So if you think about it, you take somebody, I show them some kind of, and this is all going on in my head, but I'll throw them something pretty wacky, some kind of unilateral movement where I'm really throwing them off balance. Can they, you know, first of all, what I'll do is I'll say it. I'll explain it kind of really in depth. Can they produce with that? I'm sorry, no. Actually, what I'll do is I'll demonstrate it first. I won't say too much. And they're looking at me like, oh, who the fuck is this shitty coach? Really, in my head, I'm kind of tricking them. I want to see if they can watch me and duplicate the same movement. If they watch me and can't duplicate the same movement, and then I need to go ahead and explain it from a breakdown perspective, hey, take your hand, go ahead and say, you know, and then I'm starting to give them cues like that, it automatically kind of tells me what kind of, how this nervous system is working on this kid or on this older person, general population. But really what I do there is I go through a series of balance, coordination, kind of, you know, higher end movements, but put them in a controlled manner. And I just, like I said, I see exactly what kind of function this has. I see how their motor coordination is. And from there, I'm able to determine what kind of movements or what level I can place this person at. If you're thinking of a scale, you know, advanced to, you know, beginner, if you will. So this is the next step. This is the eval and the assessment that you have, that you come in. I hope this helps. There's 3 stages to it that I'm really looking at. I know I'm leaving out some stuff. I'll probably touch on them in other ones. But next, what we're gonna get into, if you guys are interested in the 3rd series, or the 3rd video, is I'm gonna get into how I start programming movements, in what order, and stuff like that. So if you're interested, stay tuned to holler.
I don't want to be an icon. I want to be an idea. You know, I want to represent an idea.
So look, for top speed exercise today, I wanted to share with you guys something that I think is such a simple tool you can utilize to correct a lot of your top speed. So often I talk about the mechanics of the lower body and cycling when you're in top speed.